All right, episode 7, Winded City Countdown. We're back. And I'll tell you what, guys, based on the followers, based on the downloads, I think the people want it. They like us. They really, really like us.
Ooh, nice way of sort of bringing this into tonight's theme. I like it, Scott.
You know what?
That was totally off. Was that off the cuff, or did you prepare that?
How long have you been holding on to that one?
Whoa, Ben, away from the mic a little bit away from the mic. We're gonna have to sign Ben off. We gotta music him off at the stage a little bit here. No, you know what? I actually have seen that Comcast commercial 8 times today with Sally Field. I was like, oh yeah, and it just came to me right here in the moment. So that's awesome. For those of you that don't know, though, I am Scott Sternal. Alongside me, in spirit, is Ben Russo from his basement and Matt Urich from his fancy party in his basement. If you ever watch the YouTube video, you'll see Matt Urich dressed up for Oscar night on Winded City Countdown in a jacket and tie. Oh, he looks like Ben. What do you think of what is Matt Urich wearing tonight? Who is he wearing?
And a tie.
Who is he wearing?
J.C. Penney.
It's Kohl's. Come on, get your shit together. It's Kohl's. The shirt was from Kohl's. I'm sure the tie was from there. I know the suit's from Kohl's as well. I probably got it at 30% off because they're good with giving out those coupons. Kohl's, if you ever want a shout out on the show, get a hold of us. We'll do some advertising for you.
Awesome.
I'm just disappointed you guys didn't dress up for our Oscar preview, our Oscar night. A huge extravaganza. Although I see the shirt that Ben's wearing right now.
What is he wearing? I can't see it.
It has Marv from Home Alone on it. It says "Suck Brick Kid."
How did he not win a Best Actor or a Best Supporting Actor for that movie? I don't know.
That and Bushwhacked is unbelievable that he did win for that one.
Bushwhacked was supposed to be a sequel to Home Alone 2. Did you know that?
Never. No. But it's a great movie either way.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the Marv character, and then they kind of scrapped that idea after going to the script. They're like, let's just do this as a standalone. So, big night for us. This is the first night that we're going to go off topic, off sports.
Off sports, as you said last week.
Off sports. We're going off sports. We're onto a different grid. I know my wife is really excited for this one, and hopefully, the word of mouth spreads, and if this one does well, we'll do a few more of these. Not too often because we do want to focus on the sports, but we branch out into different areas, gentlemen, and one of those areas is movies. We all love a good movie. Ben, I know, loves to take in new movies. Matt really loves to take in new movies, so he gets out of his parents' basement. And I like to watch the same movies that I love over and over again because that's what I do. I'll admit it. I don't shy away from that. I will watch a movie on repeat just because I like to listen to it, and it lets me do other stuff while I'm listening to it. Because for me, when I watch a movie, I have to be actively engaged. I have to be. So that's why I like to listen to movies over and over. But anyways, tonight's list, the 10 movies that have Shawshank'd Us. Matt Urich, I'll give you the honors in your fancy suit to explain to the people what does it mean to be Shawshanked.
All right, so Shawshanked, a really good way to describe it is Saturday afternoon. It's a little crummy out, maybe a little rainy. You don't really feel like doing much. You're plopped down on the couch. Sporting events are sort of out the window. Nothing good on. No football, basketball just looks like garbage. So you flip through the channels, boom. You see a movie that you've probably seen 10, 20, 30 times before.
And what movie would that be, Matt, that inspired this list?
And that movie would be Shawshank Redemption. That no matter where we are in that film, no matter where that film is, you're going to watch the rest of it. I own Shawshank Redemption on Blu-ray, and I can watch it whenever I want. But if it's on TV with commercials, I'm more than likely going to sit down and watch the remainder of that movie. So that's what this list is sort of dedicated to. It's dedicated to Shawshank's the number one. That's a given. That's why the list is movies that'll Shawshank you. So this list is a top 10 list of movies that when they're on TV, we have to stop and watch them.
And let's preface this. These movies are sometimes great. These movies are sometimes terrible. But for some reason, they hook us in, and we just have to watch them. And I'll tell you, gentlemen, I looked this list over. It's a damn good list. Damn good list that we're going to share here today. Ben, any comments before we get into the top 10/11 here? Because number 10 is really number 11 tonight.
No, number 10 is number 10. But there's only 10 movies. But either way. No, I think it was a good list. I think we had a really hard time putting it together originally because I think we had so many movies that we had differing opinions on. So I think we had a good route of kind of narrowing it down. And I mean, I think you can make a case that at least 8 out of the 10 are really good movies. A couple of them are more just, I don't know why they made the list, but again, just one of those movies that we end up watching. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think 8 of the 10 are good. I know we had a couple of honorable mentions. Some of those include Die Hard, which, if you have a chance, there's a company on YouTube, Screen Junkies. I know, Matt, you've seen them before, and they do honest movie trailers where they take a movie and they redo the trailer with, like, honest thoughts and things about it. And the Die Hard one is really, really, really funny. So if you get a chance, check out check out Screen Junkies on YouTube for the Die Hard trailer. Good Will Hunting was an honorable mention. Another great flick. Matt Damon on the map with that one. Ben Affleck shimmied his way onto the map with Matt Damon in that one. So that's good. I know, me personally, I thought Terminator 2 was a good one for the list, as well as Back to the Future Part 2. Both great movies. Ben, did you have any on an individual level that you thought could have made this list?
Yeah, the first one was The Fugitive. Just an all-timer. I mean, just a great movie. And then one that probably isn't a very good movie, and my wife yells at me once a week for watching it because it's on literally every station. Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones.
Love it.
Just, I have no idea why, but I could watch that movie on repeat 24/7.
I would really love to see. There's a group on Facebook. They're called I Fucking Love Science. Do you guys follow that group?
Yes. Well, I don't follow it, but I've seen stuff before, yeah.
They do just a lot of cool sciencey articles and lots of cool stuff. I would love for them to do a breakdown of Volcano and the science behind that, because the more I watch that movie, the more I go, this could not happen. There's no way Volcano is happening for real in any way, shape, or form. So, but yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is excellent in that movie. I'm gonna say it. It's an all-timer for him.
Probably, yeah.
Is that good or
bad? In years. I haven't seen it in years. I honestly remember very little about that film, but I'm sure if it was on TV and I was flipping through and I saw it, I'd probably stop.
Should have died at the end of the movie. He really should have. That building collapsed on him. I don't care what anybody says. All right. So before we get into the list, I'm just going to tell you, we're going to announce the movie, and if you don't want to hear stuff about the movie, you're going to need to fast forward, because there is not a movie on this list that is less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
So we are we don't have. Here's your one spoiler alert for the night. We're going to talk plots. We're going to talk ends of movies here. We're going to talk all bits and pieces of these movies. I'm just telling you, this is your one chance. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, get out now. All right, now that you're out, let's get to it. Number 10, a favorite of mine, a Donner film, takes place in a small town, Astoria, Oregon, The Goonies. Ben, you are not a Goonies guy. So I'm gonna give you your 60 seconds to get on your soapbox and explain what you don't love about the Truffle Shuffle and Mouth and Data and his Pinter's apparel and everything that goes along with Andy having a kissing scene in a cave with a young Sean Astin. Go ahead. This is your chance.
Okay. Well, number one, I never said I don't like the movie. I just said it's a novelty movie. Like, I have to be in the mood to watch that movie. That's what I said. So I didn't say I didn't like it.
Okay.
But with that being said, I mean it's a funny movie. It's a good movie. I won't say anything, that it doesn't deserve to be on here. But I just think, like I said, I think it's a novelty movie for me more than something I could just sit down and watch at any point. I have to really be in the mood to want to see it. So.
Do you guys think there's a chance if we worked really hard, we could get the guy who played Chunk
Yes.
on here as like
Yes.
a sponsor of some sort, like
Maybe not.
honorary Winded City guy? I don't know. I feel like he's right up our alley with Winded City Countdown. Wouldn't you agree, Matt?
I would agree. I'm like looking him up right now on on IMDb. His name is Jeff Cohen. If nothing else, I feel like it would be somewhat easy to get a hold of him and be like, "Hey, we just want you to come on our show for a little bit." We
That
won't
guy's
even
life's got to be miserable.
because like I'm looking at his IMDb page. Like he did very very little after Goonies. Like he did a couple after school specials. He was on a couple episodes of Family Ties.
Can we get after school specials back into our lives?
No, because the internet will just disprove everything. Like a kid will just get on YouTube and then find out whatever he needs.
I don't know. Sci-Fi Channel found themselves a nice little niche with Sharknado and stuff. Maybe couldn't like NBC come out and be like, "Hey, we're gonna be your home for after school specials." Terrible after school special. I don't know. But anyways, back on topic here. The Goonies. Really, there's a lot to love with that movie, especially a bunch of like the little stuff. Like one of my favorite fun facts of the Goonies is the scene where they go down the slide after Andy plays the bone piano. And so the kids go down the slide and they end up in that lake or pond area or whatever with the ship, and they purposely didn't let the kids see the ship until that moment.
So they could have a genuine reaction to it.
Yeah, and really just one of the cool things that you see it and they they're like, "Oh, this is really awesome," and that's genuine as opposed to staged. I love that.
And that was actually like a full size ship too, wasn't it?
It was really
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, good movie. Lots of fun stuff. They do a festival they did a festival last summer for the Goonies 30 years in Astoria, and you could actually like go on a tour of the house and stuff, which was pretty cool. And I don't know if you know this, but Astoria is actually a very famous town for like books and music and movies to take place in. Another favorite of ours, I didn't put it on this list because it's never really on TV. Kindergarten Cop, also from Astoria, Oregon. So, little fun fact there for you.
Yeah, that was a good fun fact.
So, Goonies, great movie. All right, so we go from the light, the fluffy, the fun movie to the depressing. And there is no way you walk out of The Green Mile without feeling just kind of downtrodden and just awful. And I believe we have an Oscar winner from this one, Michael Clark Duncan. He was a Best Supporting Actor winner for this movie. Shame that guy died.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, that was rough. Ben, Green Mile, your thoughts?
Again, a great movie. A movie I have to be in the mood for. I think you'll see, another spoiler alert from here on out, not a lot of depression the rest of the way. And I think that's where this movie kind of falls for me. I mean, you guys know Tom Hanks is... Leo's kind of overtaking him, but Tom Hanks is probably my favorite actor. So, again, just a very enjoyable movie. But, yeah, the whole depression side of it, not something I just can sit down and watch regularly. But, again, it's a great movie.
What's the saddest part of that movie for you, Matt?
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's tough. The electrocution scene's pretty rough.
Where Dale gets electrocuted.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
That is very, very rough. It's like, here's one of my... I know this sounds weird now that we're talking like depressing, but it's a very long movie. Obviously, the runtime's over 3 hours. When this movie's on TV, it's like 5 hours. But this happened to me the other day. It was probably, I don't remember what day it was, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. I was flipping through the channels, and it was about 10 o'clock in the morning and I had the day off, yeah, I spent the majority of the next like 4 hours because I missed like the first hour watching it on TV. But it's one of those movies that you watch it and it's sad, it's depressing, but at the same time, the acting in it is unbelievable. It's
Yeah, and you know what's weird about that though is there's just not a redeeming quality. Like there's no like moment at the end where you're like, oh, well everybody's happy and okay. Like Tom Hanks, his wife is dead, his kids are dead. He's 108 years old. He watches that woman he's telling the story to die. Mr. Jingles is alive, and he's just like suffering. Like he was just trying to do the right thing, and he's just suffering. Like there's like you get to the end of that movie, you're like this sucks for everybody.
yeah, they're and that's very because it's I mean I'm sure you guys know this, but it's based off a novel written by Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is awesome. And then another really cool thing is Frank Darabont did the screenplay, and he is the creator of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah, because Frank Darabont also directed it too. So it's kind of I don't know. It's cool to see people that have and Darabont also did Shawshank Redemption too. So he's wrote Shawshank, which was also a Stephen King novel. So kind of interesting that a movie like The Green Mile that's sort of similar in a lot of ways to Shawshank makes the Shawshank'd list.
Hey Ben, what are your thoughts on Wild Bill in that movie? Because I love the character. I think he's hilarious.
Love the actor too, by the way.
Yeah, I really like the actor. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Sam Rockwell.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, I mean the character himself, I thought he was funny. This again isn't a movie I've seen. I can't try and remember the last time I even saw it. Probably a couple years at least, but yeah, I think the character himself was funny. The execution scene where you guys were talking about the electric chair was the one that sticks out in my head that makes me not want to watch that movie regularly because that was horrible to see.
Yeah, and as horrible as that scene is, you do have Wild Bill jumping on the prison cell. Go, woo, we cooking now. I love that scene.
Yeah,
love and hate that scene all at the same time.
That's the mark of a great actor. Somebody who can make you feel that you both hate it and love something all at once.
Oh, good stuff. All right, let's keep going here. I will say, Green Mile. I often get the stink eye from Katie when I flip that out. She's like, "Come on, not tonight." It's depression.
How often does she say, "Oh, not tonight"?
Number 8 on this list. Air Force One, great movie.
Wonderful.
Awesome movie. Get off my plane. Harrison Ford. How this ended up is like our only Harrison. Is this our only Harrison Ford movie? Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Because
I voted for Fugitive, but nobody else did. So.
Yeah, that's your jam, Ben. Air Force One. This one goes down on a list as well as like the most improbable movie that could ever happen. Like
what? It's like Die Hard in the Sky, man, with the president. That's what this movie is. I mean, he becomes. Let's face it. That president. What's his name? Hold on. I know what his president name is. James Marshall. That President James Marshall turns into John McClane on Air Force One. I mean,
he was one of the best fighter pilots of all time.
And
you know how many missions he ran in Nam?
And I love to what's his name? I can't think of the Gary Oldman. Like Gary Oldman as the
Ivan Korshunov.
Yeah, as the Russian dude. Like, come on, that is what's his name in Die Hard? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. The bad guy.
Another rest in peace.
Yes.
Yeah. Severus Snape, Professor Severus Snape. That's him. Why can't I think of his name?
I know this is driving me nuts.
This is unbelievable.
So
I think very realistic
Hans Gruber
possibility.
Hans Gruber. It's not, but you're talking not just an airplane. The president's airplane is taken over by terrorists And then Harrison
with the
Ford,
help of an FBI agent. I don't they got through because they were paying off another guy.
no way. Just I think of the 10 movies on our list, I think there's a better chance of you playing a bone piano, going down a slide, and finding a pirate ship than
Filled
Air Force
with gold.
One, filled with gold. You have a better chance of that than Air Force One ever being taken over.
If we're really going to make this a list of movies that are less believable than Air Force One, there's at least a handful on the list remaining
Yeah,
that
the
are
next,
less believable.
not the next. Well, the next one, yeah, but the one after the next one is definitely on that list.
No way. I think that's more believable than even.
No. All right, but either way, this is. So when I asked Alex, I told her about the list we were doing, and I said, "What movies do I do this with?" Number one was Volcano. Actually, Volcano was number 2, and this was number 1. This is one she said that I watch way too much, which I don't disagree with, because man, I just can't get enough. Can't get enough of Air Force One.
I know I'm making fun of it, but it is a good movie.
Oh, it is.
I know what's gonna happen, and my hands still sweat, and I'm like, come on, you gotta get to him, you gotta save him, and he does it every time. It's great, great ending.
Well, and I mean, I guess that's the mark of any. Like, I don't even know if I want to classify this as a good bad movie. Like, I don't know.
It's not a good bad movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a
But
good
it's
movie.
all right. I guess the better way to put it then is it's a classic like '90s action movie.
Yeah.
That like a big, you got your big star guy. You have your President James Marshall, and like he's like a superhero. I mean, it's just like John McClane. He's like a superhero in Die Hard, but even though you know the outcome, you're like Ben said, you're still like rooting for the outcome. It's so weird. It's like us when we watch like replays of sporting events, and you know what's gonna happen, but you still like get goosebumps when something, you see a replay of something, and you still have goosebumps.
Well,
I'll tell you. I'll
go
tell
ahead.
you one thing though with it. Glenn Close as Vice President Catherine Bennett seemed
Unbelievable.
like the most incompetent vice president I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
She just had no idea what to do the entire time. She's
No,
like
she
fighting
looked
with
worse than-
everybody.
She looked worse than Andy Reid during a 2-minute drill in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, love Glenn Close. The character did not benefit her at all.
Agreed. So let's go on here from a movie that I think is completely unbelievable to another movie that some would claim is even more unbelievable, Castaway. This is going to be our second Tom Hanks flick on the docket here. There's one more coming. But Tom Hanks, man, in Castaway. And we're going to get into the Oscar talk. And even though I haven't seen but one of the Best Picture nominees, I will argue that that there's a reason that somebody should win it, and it's because of this movie. If you watch Castaway, it is so awesome because Tom Hanks is on an island by himself, and he acts the shit out of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm captivated by a man that he's acting with a volleyball. I mean, they could have had somebody else go down with him. They could have done a ton of other things, but no, they get him to go down by himself, and he's on camera by himself for like an hour.
Well, and like the thing that I love the most, because you eventually get dialogue with Tom Hanks and Castaway with Wilson,
Yes.
but especially the like beginning moments of him before they show like the transition months later or whatever it is, like the pure frustration that he exhibits when he's first the confusion, and then just his acting is so unbelievable in this movie. He's so good because he's able to act and make you understand what he's going through without ever saying anything.
Without a dialogue with the audience, and
Mhm.
and to your point, they show like, I want to say they only show like the first week or two.
Mhm.
Then he cracks his tooth, and then they
Then
they
you
go
show
ahead,
him.
and then they go 4 years into the future.
Yeah, skinny, long beard,
And I think
long hair.
And what they write for him and they do a really awesome job with is they still fill in some of that backstory over 4 years.
Yeah.
And they bring that in, and I just there's not a lot of people that you can put in to that type of a role and have them be successful, and Tom Hanks was, and he did a great job. And Again, I know some people may not like Castaway, but I think it's a tremendous movie because of that. Ben, what do you want to add on this?
I mean, yeah, he was nominated for Best Actor. He didn't win, but you say he's one of the few actors. At this point, I know you're going to argue it later, but I don't think anybody could do better than what Tom Hanks did. And that includes DiCaprio. I think DiCaprio is a great actor. He has an awesome niche, but this type of acting is like this is the kind of stuff that I think made Tom Hanks separate a lot of people for me. Just again, a movie where he talks to a volleyball and is silent for most of it is one of my favorite movies. I mean, that's what it is. And again,
And like, if you describe that movie to somebody who's never seen it before and you just say, yeah, well, it's a guy, a plane crashes, he's on a desert island, and like, oh, who does he talk? Oh, he doesn't talk to anybody. Well, later he talks to a volleyball. They'd be like, okay.
So it's the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah, essentially.
Which it is, but it's really good.
And I will say, I mean, you go through the last 20 years, and this is one of only 3 films I can think of where primarily the movie is just a single actor. There's this, The Martian, which we'll talk about a little later, and then I Am Legend is the only one I can think of.
Oh, how did I not think of that movie for my list? Not that it would have made it, obviously, but
it's another one of those depressing movies that it's a hard watch. But man, and you could say what you want about Will Smith.
But with that I Am Legend, though, there's a lot of cutting back and forth.
Agreed, but again, there's not a lot of actors you could have dropped into that movie and had the emotion and the feelings towards that character that Will Smith brought. And again, I'm not saying Will Smith is the be-all, end-all of actors, but I mean, that I Am Legend to me, that's peak Will Smith acting right there. For better or worse, whatever you want to think of him. But few guys can pull off such a movie, and I don't know that Leo is a guy that could do that. I'd be really interested to see.
Well, you do actually see a little bit of that in The Revenant.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is him by himself, but there's an end game. Well, and there's an end game.
And that's my thing is like with Tom Hanks there was no cutting back and forth. There was a solid hour of that movie where it was just Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Whereas in The Revenant, there's scenes with Tom Hardy, and then they cut back to
and there's other storylines essentially that are like interweaved in all that too.
Right.
But we'll also touch on The Revenant later.
All right. Let's get to number 6. And I think I could say pretty confidently 6 is the worst movie on this list.
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Number 2?
No, I think 4.
Ooh.
No.
All right. Well, hey,
bite your tongue.
6 and 4 have 2 very common themes.
Oh, they are tied together by one very awesome actor
who was in 4 movies on my list, by the way.
And that actor is Nick Cage.
Can't Hardly Wait?
No. Yeah, I had Can't Hardly Wait on my list. I can admit that.
That actor's Nick Cage, and Nick Cage as an awesome treasure hunter in National Treasure.
Named Benjamin Franklin Gates.
Oh, yeah. Great movie. Let me tell you where I was on Saturday afternoon. This past Saturday. I'm feeding lunch to my son. There's nothing on TV, and I noticed on my DVR that my son had accidentally recorded National Treasure. Yeah, it was on the TV. And I let it play with commercials and all because I loved it. I was like, oh, great, I have this to watch now, because if it were on TV, I would have watched it, and it was on my DVR as a saving grace. So I thank my 1-year-old son for the save there on Saturday to give me something to watch.
That sounds like that thing when all of a sudden there was this picture posted on Instagram of Kim Kardashian, and she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe my daughter posted this really attractive photo of me on Instagram."
Oh, my son accidentally recorded.
My son accidentally recorded National Treasure.
He did, because the recording starts at the scene when they're getting ready to go down inside the church on Wall Street. So
So here's oh my God, I just thought of another movie. Like, I'm terrible at this. Great
All right,
movie.
Let's stick on National Treasure.
Yeah. Anyways, but the thing about National Treasure is it's so stupidly inconceivable that it makes it fun. And it's like not well acted because Nick Cage movies, you sort of know what you're getting into. I mean, you walk into it and you know it's like this guy's gonna be bad, but I'm gonna somewhat enjoy it.
Is there any doubt in your mind that the Nick Cage you see in movies is the Nick Cage you would meet in real life?
Same dude.
No, I think he's probably worse in real life than he is in the movies.
What if he's just like super humble?
He's not, but
There's no way he's humble.
He's
He
got
just
that.
did, what was that stupid?
I think I just read an article about he buys like artifacts. Like he buys like just like old school stuff. That's all he does. Like all the millions that he's made from making these god awful movies that we all love, he just buys like ancient artifacts that
What was that
Didn't
science
he go like
movie he just
bankrupt
did?
or something?
yeah, buying ancient artifacts.
God, Nick Cage.
He's an American treasure. An Oscar winner, by the way.
For Raising Arizona?
I think it was Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay.
Ew.
Something with a city. So there you go. My favorite part of that movie, though, as good as Nick Cage is, Sean Bean, man. Sean Bean is great in National Treasure. Can we
John
just-
Voight stole the show, but
He steals every show he's in.
right. Except Anaconda. Nobody stole that. That was a piece of shit.
Because nobody watched it, except for me.
I did love John Voight clapping his hands down the hall at the end of Varsity Blues after he punched that kid in the face. He's like, "All right, let's go," and everyone's just kind of like,
Let's go.
"This is awkward." You literally
He
just
acted the shit out of that scene, by the way.
I wish I could do anything half as well as John Voight acted the shit out of that scene in Varsity Blues. I wish the people that made Varsity Blues would actually take a note from John Voight and be like, you know what? John Voight's taking his game up. Let's take this script up a notch, but they didn't. Anyways, back to National Treasure. You're probably right. This is less likely to happen than Air Force One being taken over by terrorists, but I think you can make a strong case that this could be the line. This could be the line. Like Air Force One taken over by terrorists, a very thin line, and just on the other side is National Treasure.
How many did they make? 3?
2.
Oh, there's only 2.
Too.
I really want a third. And I will. I'll go pay my $8 to go see a third. I saw both of these in theaters.
I saw the second one in theater.
See, the problem is, as we've noted, Scott, there isn't a movie Scott's paid to see that he hasn't liked. Maybe
Yeah, right.
one. But if Scott saw it in the theater,
If he
it's
dropped
on
that
his-
$8,
it's on his top 10 list, guaranteed.
What's the one? Oh my god, I
Let
can't
me
even
tell
think
you
of
about Selena. That was a jam.
Jennifer
My-
Lopez.
my
just rocked
uncle.
it.
You know that story, right, Matt? That my uncle thinks Selena's the greatest movie ever.
Please, what?
We're not kidding.
Wait, which uncle? Your Uncle Glenn?
Yeah, Uncle Glenn. Uncle
Okay.
Glenn, and he's gonna listen to this tomorrow, and he's gonna text me. I guarantee you at like 3 or 4 o'clock, and be like, "Let me tell you something about Selena."
I'm good. All right, well, if he comes to your son's birthday party, I'm asking him about it.
Oh, he's coming, and you
All
can
right.
ask. He'll
I will.
educate you on Selena and how excellent of a movie it is. We got it from him on DVD for Christmas. I think he's one of the few people that's actually worn out a DVD. So
I want to know which one.
Selena. Oh my god. All right, so recapping 6 through 10: 6 National Treasure, 7 Castaway, 8 Air Force One, 9 Green Mile, 10 Goonies. Notice we have one Oscar winner out of those 5 movies.
Oh
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Tom Hanks had to have won.
Not for any of those in our bottom 5.
Oh,
There's only
all right.
one award.
I thought you meant like the actor.
Oh no. Tom Hanks, didn't he win for Philadelphia?
I believe he did, yes.
I would bet anything that he won for Philadelphia. That would be my guess. All right, here we go. The top 5. Oh, this is good. This is gonna be real good here. 5, Goodfellas, based loosely on a true story, if my understanding of that is correct.
Yeah, it's the guy who, if you want to tie it into sports, oh man,
The
what?
Boston College, is that the one?
Boston College, the
Yeah.
gambling ring. That's the main character. That's what he was tied to.
Classic
Henry
mobster
Hill.
movie. Matt, you're a big mobster guy.
Love mobster movies. Couldn't get that out. But yes, this is like, and especially my thing about this is because I love Scorsese, and this is like quintessential Scorsese, where it's the main character is like the narrator, and it's just like this is the only movie I think I've ever seen with Ray Liotta that I liked, because I don't think he's that good of an actor. But De Niro, unbelievable. Joe Pesci's role in Goodfellas was made for Joe Pesci, because he is the short, little, stubby guy that people make fun of, and then his friends can make fun of him. But if somebody else is telling a joke, he's gonna mess you up.
I'm convinced that every role that Joe Pesci's ever had was made for him. I really am. I'm convinced. I don't know that there's ever a movie I've seen with Joe Pesci in it where I'm like, oh, somebody else could have played that role to perfection.
Yeah, I totally agree, because he's like Joe Pesci's a very good character actor. Like I feel like a lot of roles are written specifically for him. But Goodfellas, the thing I remember about Goodfellas is I have this movie on DVD. I think I don't think I have it on Blu-ray, but it came with 2 discs because it was like right when DVDs came out, and they still didn't have the technology to put it on one full disc. Apparently,
Wow.
yeah. So like halfway through the movie, I have to take it out and put in another DVD. So I'd rather just watch it on TV. And I'm sure Goodfellas probably comes up 2-3 times a month on AMC. I
Sure
mean,
does.
AMC love their mobster stuff. So I adore Goodfellas. It's such a great movie.
Ben, you want to add to that?
Couple little interesting facts other than it. This is like if we did like a top 10 movie list, like in general, this probably would be on it. But couple facts I'm not sure if you guys know, but originally Ray Liotta's character, everybody targeted Tom Cruise to play Henry Hill, and I don't think the movie would have been nearly as good with Tom Cruise over Ray Liotta, because again, just a guy that was meant for a character. It almost seems like
Liotta's got like that skeezy sort of like vibe, like because Tom Cruise is like all American boy sort of thing.
And to go along with Tom Cruise, to play Henry Hill's wife, played by Lorraine Bracco, originally was cast for Madonna.
Ooh.
So
That would have been actually. I think that would have been kind of cool.
What do you guys
Would
make
have been
of Madonna as an actress?
what was the one that she did?
Yeah, didn't she win something for Evita?
Evita, yeah, there you go.
She did Vita.
Whatever. I don't
League
know
of
that
Their
I
Own.
really. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that movie. Man, that one did. Forgot about that one.
I had that one, but you know why I held it off? I held it off because it's not on TV nearly enough.
Yeah,
I can't even remember last time that was on TV. But continue, Ben.
but no, that was just the 2 things that I remember. It was actually announced pretty recently that Tom Cruise was like, everybody thought he was the guy, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I thought it was Scorsese was the guy who held out. Like everybody else, like the casting director was wanted Tom Cruise, like everybody wanted Tom Cruise, and he's like, no, I want Ray Liotta, and Ray Liotta wasn't very popular then, so it was kind of a shock
now.
that he didn't go. Oh, he is. He does that one commercial with the.
Well, he's on like a
Corona.
TV. Yeah, he's on like some TV show now.
He was just on Modern Family as a
he
special
on, like-
guest star.
Is he like one of the like million CSI show guys?
Probably. I mean, the fact that like I'm guessing within like 10 years it's gonna be like CSI Winded City Countdown Edition, and it's the 3 of us, and it's just terrible.
Like it is now. I mean, it already is. So, all right, let's go on. Number 4.
This is
Our
the worst
our last Nick Cage movie.
Love it.
Ben thinks it's the worst. I don't know,
How
but
the hell did this get a higher rating than Air Force One?
because Con Air, Ben Russo, is awesome.
This is without a doubt a good bad movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, this might be the definition of good bad movies.
This movie has Dave Chappelle in it, for crying out loud, and he's like not like he's kind of funny, but like not. I don't know. It's weird, but Nick Cage with that terrible accent
Oh,
and that
that
beautiful
southern accent.
that beautiful long hair, and he's talking. I can't.
Got
I wish
that
I could.
southern drawl.
I wish I could do it justice. That doll there's for my daughter. Like all he wants to do is see his damn daughter, and he had to go through all that shit. And then it's like the side actors in Con Air.
Steve
are,
Buscemi,
Oh my
John
god!
Malkovich,
And speaking of creepy,
the
is
awful brother.
when Steve Buscemi is singing with that little girl.
Yes.
Oh my god, that is so.
Malkovich
terrifying.
stole the show on that one. I loved Cyrus.
Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah.
Cyrus the Virus. That's John Cusack in that movie, right?
Yeah, he plays the cop or whatever.
Can we disown him from Chicago? Can we make that decision?
Well, him and that stupid Belushi brother.
Jim.
Oh
Oh my god.
god, like how is that the best Chicago can do?
Oh, and Jim Belushi loves nothing more in this world than being trotted out when Chicago's good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Chicago's good. I'll be Mr. Chicago. It's like, dude, fuck you. Get out of here. God, I hate that guy.
I think most do.
But you know who I don't hate? I don't hate Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah, he was awesome in that, and
He was great.
again, this is one of those movies again where it's just you got to. I mean, that's why it's on the list. You have to watch it because it's. And again, just you want to talk about unrealistic? Like, how about like 30 prisoners pulling a plane out of like a sand pit?
Still
They're-
more
they're
likely
tough.
than the president's plane being hijacked.
No, absolutely not.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
No, not a chance.
Fine. 1A and
They like
1A
lift it up so they
again.
could like repair the tire. It's like, come on, 15 guys are not lifting a
Oh
giant.
really? They had Ving Rhames on that flight.
Yeah. What
And
has he
Ving
done
Rhames?
since?
Ving Rhames could put an airplane on its back and run a marathon and win.
Awesome.
Mm,
All right.
Mhm.
Let's keep it going. Number 3. Now, 3 is an interesting one because I almost didn't want to include it. And I know we've had other movies with profanity in it, but Casino is one of those where the profanity is so intertwined with the movie and it almost becomes a difficult watch on cable TV. But in spite of all that, Casino. Oh, Casino.
And I'm gonna put this out here now, which is crazy. I've never seen Casino. I've seen bits and pieces, and it's amazing to me that I haven't because I love Martin Scorsese. I love Robert De Niro. I
Yeah.
talked before about how much I like Joe Pesci. So it is kind of weird to
And
me that
Sharon
I've
Stone is
never
the
seen it.
skankiest of all skanks of all time in that movie.
And because like, Tarantino and Scorsese are like a match made in heaven. They did Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Cape Fear. Like you would think I'd be all about this, but I really should probably watch this at some point, I guess.
So stinking good. Ben, Casino.
yeah, again, just an all-timer. This is I can't believe we forgot this one initially when we were putting our initial list together. Like we all forgot it. I mean, again, this is a movie filled with just great actors. Oh man,
All right,
I,
so
I
now
can't
that
get
we're
enough of those movies.
now
so.
that we're in the top 3, and I know Matt, you haven't seen it, but you've seen some of it.
Mhm.
Your favorite scene from Casino, Matt? Do you have one?
I would be doing a disservice if I tried pulling
Okay.
something out of the top of my head.
All right, so Ben, you and I'll go here. Ben, your favorite scene from Casino?
I've got two.
Go for it.
The first one is the scene when they bust the guy cheating. He's
Yes.
got the little tapper thing in his pants, counting cards with another guy. And they just bust his hand up with the baseball bat and back. And the second one, and it's more just because I've seen the movie like 100 times, and it probably wasn't until like the 95th time that I realized it. When Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone are sitting in that trailer, and he's trying to like comfort her, and like if you watch the scene, like he's just. I didn't notice it, but like he's just the whole time he's just like slowly unbuttoning his pants, and Sharon Stone, you see her hands start moving because she's doing some work down there, and then obviously the scene culminates with her, jumping on it. But I laugh hysterically at that entire scene because you look at Joe Pesci and he's just got like that face. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, like just absolutely hilarious. I love that scene.
I love the scene similar to that when they're talking about Joe Pesci and his restaurants, and they bring in the girls from like the Las Vegas show, and he's like, "Oh, let me show you around." And he takes the girl out back to the car, and like he opens up the passenger door, and has her get across the car to the driver's seat, and then he gets into the passenger seat, and he's just talking about how they make the sandwiches and how the restaurant works, and then he just takes her head and casually pushes it into her lap. It describes the character that is Joe Pesci so much. He's like, yeah, so we run the restaurant here, and then that's it. I'm like, so smooth.
Yeah, just absolutely great.
So smooth. Just a great flick. All right, here we go. Number 2. Oh, I love number 2. I feel guilty every time I watch number 2 because this is, again, a good, bad movie. Twister. Oh, Twister. Oh, and what a cast.
Oh, wonderful cast.
Oh.
This is right up there with Angels in the Outfield.
It really is. It kind of is. This is a very, very, very talented group of people. And let's face it, like he does in most films he's in, Philip Seymour Hoffman is the best. I love that guy. He is so
he steals the
awesome.
show.
I would put Twister in a 3-way tie for bad movie, great cast, all stars with it's Twister, Angels in the Outfield, and Mars Attacks.
Ooh, very good
but
one.
the thing is Mars Attacks got all those actors on purpose, whereas like Angels in the Outfield was just so early in a lot of those actors' careers.
Like it's got to be within like one of the first 3 or 4 films they ever made.
Like big films that's what makes that one so unique. It was just like these guys were no-namers when they were in the movie, but like then you look at like what they did after that. And for those of you listening, I'm telling you right now, go look at that Angels in the Outfield cast. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really something special. All right, Twister, great movie. Who's the guy? He's the antagonist. He's from Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's in
Cary Elwes.
Yes, love him in that movie. Really disappointed that he got his partner killed there as they were driving towards the tornado. Like,
well, they all got killed though.
Yeah.
Just listen to what he's saying. He's telling you not to go, and you went and you died. So, Matt, your favorite scene from Twister?
Favorite scene is when they finally get Dorothy, first of all, when they're like showing you the insides of Dorothy and like the little balls or whatever and how they open up, and like I swear to God, because for the longest time growing up when I was younger, this movie came out in '96, so I'm guessing anytime after '96, when people would say, "Oh, what do you want to do when you grow up?" I wanted to be a meteorologist. Like I wanted
like one tonight, so
yeah, on tonight's weather. But like this movie made me want to go like chase tornadoes. I was scared to death of them, like 99% of people. But I don't know. I was so fascinated by Dorothy, and I'm sure something like that would never ever work because that just doesn't make sense. That they'll just put this machine in a tornado and then these little balls are going to tell you what happens. But that's one of my favorite scenes. Plus, what's another one too? Like the cow flying by, like that's like such an iconic moment.
Gotta go, Julia. We got cows. Awful. She's the worst part of that movie.
No.
Yes.
Nah.
Who's worse than her in that movie?
Aunt May.
No.
Yeah.
You know why? I have a special place for Aunt May because she reminds me of my Aunt Barb. She kind of looks like her, kind of kooky like her. Also love the part when she's like, "You see all my cows out front?" No. Yeah. And they're all eating the steaks. Love that part. Ben, what's your favorite scene from Twister?
I think it's probably that like final chase when they drive the car into the tornado, and then just like the chase after that, like they're just running away from an F5 tornado, which is completely unrealistic. And then it all culminates with them strapping themselves to a metal pipe in the ground and the tornado basically going through them, and
Yep.
they magically don't get hit with any debris,
No.
or
Well,
get
yeah,
pulled
why would
off
they?
of it, or get
I-
pulled off of the pipe that they're held on by like some belt from JCPenney. So, like, just again, so realistic that happened.
Still
I mean,
more realistic
than Air
than
Force One.
One.
Just
I'd like to nominate a scene from this movie for a nomination to the Unintentional Comedy Hall of Fame. And it's the scene where they're at Aunt Meg's or whatever her name is, and they're having lunch, and they're talking about what all the tornado terminology is. And the weird woman that I said is the worst thing to do with this movie goes, "Has anybody seen an F5?" And like everybody just stops.
gets all serious.
And it's like, and they
And
all
then Bill
like, and
Paxton,
they all stare at the ceiling, and they're like, "Yeah, go Ben, finish it." What does he?
Bill
What does he say?
Paxton like looks to the side and he's like, "Only one of us."
And they all look at the ceiling.
Or just one or something like that. Yeah. That
Oh,
As if like that's the biggest crowning achievement in somebody's life, right there.
yeah. So I want to nominate that for the Unintentional Comedy Hall of Fame there, because that scene makes me laugh. All right. So quickly, 2 Twister, 3 Casino, 4 Con Air, 5 Goodfellas, 6 National Treasure, 7 Castaway, 8 Air Force One, 9 Green Mile, 10 The Goonies. We're on to number 1. And number 1 is TNT plays this movie all the time, and they are thrilled that they can play this movie all the time. And that movie is Catch Me If You Can, with Tom Hanks as one of my favorite movie characters of all time in Carl Hanratty. I am Carl Hanratty. Love that guy. Awesome. Really great. Matt, what do you love about Catch Me If You Can?
Well, I think probably the coolest thing about the whole story is the fact that it's mostly based off a true story, and that Leo, like, to me, this is one of the first like DiCaprio movies that made me think that he could be like the stud sort of actor. Like, obviously we saw Titanic and that sort of really boosted his stock, and then he was in like movies like Romeo and Juliet and The Beach.
Really quick to grab your thought there. It surprises me that DiCaprio was able to have an unbelievable career after Titanic.
It is
That
kind of
felt-
interesting.
That felt like a movie that could have absolutely ruined his career, and he could have just been like set in as like that character forever. And then, what is it? 15 years later, he's the Wolf of Wall Street, and that movie is a discussion for another day. But anyways, go ahead, Matt.
But no, it's just the whole story itself, and how, especially like back in that day, like you think of how easy it was to forge checks and do all that sort of stuff, because obviously nothing like that could ever happen now, or if it did, it would have to be, you'd have to do some serious legwork to do that. But to me, it's one of the first film, because I think it's interesting and it's kind of neat to watch like that DiCaprio play these like different, like being a character playing different characters. And it's one of those movies. I mean, there's a reason why this is number 1 on our list, because it's one of those movies that I see that it's on, and it's like, there goes the rest of my afternoon. I'm gonna watch it no matter what. Just such a great movie. Spielberg, Tom Hanks. I mean, DiCaprio doesn't get much better than that. Ben.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, I think this is another one. Just the cast out by itself. You got Leo, you got Tom Hanks, Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen, young Amy Adams. This was one of her first films. James Brolin's in it. It's got a bunch of those like, oh hey, that guy's in it type characters where you see them and you don't realize that it's them, and you're just surprised that they're in the movie. But I mean, Jennifer Garner's in it. So I mean, just the cast by itself is great. I think the story is just so appealing. It's just a fun movie to watch, and like you said, it's one of those movies when you're watching it, and it doesn't matter if like you have to go to like a birthday or a funeral or a wedding. If it's on, you're gonna be late. Sorry, that's just kind of how it works. So, but yeah, again, just one of those movies that's a must see, obviously.
My favorite scene in that movie is the first time Carl meets Leo's character in the hotel.
Yeah,
and he
with
like
the-
completely fakes him out, and he's like, "No, look, my partner's taking him to the car right now," and he's got like the blind guy, And then like he was like, "Oh, here you can keep my wallet and stuff." I love that scene because Tom Hanks is like at the end after Leo leaves, he's like, "Ooh, man, glad we got this guy." And then he realizes slowly that he just totally got effed over.
Well, then there's the whole knock, knock, the car scene when he's telling the knock, knock joke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an all-time. That's an all-time.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Yeah, Catch Me If You Can. A great flick. It's a great movie. Leo's awesome. Tom Hanks is awesome. The story's awesome. Love that it stays pretty true to like the real life scenarios that were in play. And just, a lot of good comedy from Tom Hanks, which, I always forget this about Tom Hanks, but Tom Hanks started his career as a comedic actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a comedic actor, and then he went into this dramatic period, and then it stuck. So
And he's so good at those like dramatic but like witty sort of characters.
yeah,
He's so good at that he can still bring like a sense of like humor to stuff even though they're serious. So he's one of the best, all time one of the best.
for sure. So gotta, looking at this list, you got 3 Tom Hanks movies, 2 Nick Cage movies. Yeah, good stuff.
And speaking real quick on Nick Cage movies, 2 movies that did not make the list for me were 2 Nick Cage movies, Gone in 60 Seconds, that I saw twice in the movie theater. Yeah. And The Rock. That was my best Sean Connery.
So, all right, so Matt just shared that tidbit. Ben, do you have a terrible movie that you saw more than once in the movie theater?
Oh God, no. I honestly don't know that I've outside of Jurassic Park. I don't know that I've ever actually seen a movie more than once in the theater.
So I will tell you, as bad as Gone in 60 Seconds is for a movie you saw twice, Matt, I saw Batman and Robin.
Oh, dude, that's bad because that's Batman with nipples.
Oh, it was awful.
Terrible.
And that's I saw it during the day, and then my dad came home from work, and then he wanted to see it, so we went and saw it again. And I was like, all right, well, whatever.
The thing is, like, there's not even one closer to being worse than that one in that whole Batman series.
No.
So
well,
bad.
that's the one with Val Kilmer. I would argue.
Oh, okay, yeah, the George Clooney one.
The
is
George
yeah.
Clooney one.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm
thinking
of Batman and Robin. Yeah,
that's an all-time mail-in movie.
Yeah, the Clooney one's got Uma Thurman and Schwarzenegger, right?
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Oh, it's just so bad.
Dr. Freeze.
Yeah, so bad.
Oh my God. And they got Chris O'Donnell back though for a second movie somehow.
Kid had to make money somehow.
He did. So, all right. So now we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk Oscars. We're gonna go to the Best Picture here to try to keep this within an hour. Ben, you've seen all but which movie on this
Brooklyn.
list? You did not see Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has the second longest odds. Bridge of Spies is the longest odds, and the favorite is The Revenant. Let's start with The Revenant because there's 2 things in play here. The Revenant, obviously, another little bit of a historic piece, I guess. Would that be right to classify it that way?
Yeah.
And then
it's based off of a true story, yeah.
And then you got it's very artsy to me from the trailer. I haven't seen it. I feel like it's a very artistic piece. And then you have the big question that hangs over this Sunday's Oscars, which is, does PC Leo DiCaprio get it done? Does he get that Oscar? And if he does, how many women is he going to get at the after Oscar parties?
All of them.
It's his biggest night in 2 ways, correct?
Well, I don't think he has issues otherwise either.
I'm not saying he has issues otherwise. I'm just saying, like, he just goes out on top in both ways. Ben, what do you think? Is Leo going to win the Best Actor?
I think he does, just because, I think you look at the odds, it's so heavily in his favor. The only one I wouldn't even call it in the same zip code as Eddie Redmayne. which I hope he doesn't win. That I watched like a little bit of that movie and I couldn't get into it. But I mean, I thought he was really good. I do think that it'll be kind of odd that if this is the movie that he wins for, he spent like half the movie dying. So like it was basically just him like growling and screaming for like a majority of the movie. I shouldn't say a majority, for a good chunk of the movie. So it doesn't. I mean, I guess you could say that's a skill in acting, but I mean, again, there wasn't much to it. But it was a really really good movie.
Is he better in this or Wolf of Wall Street?
Probably this, because Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, you basically just had to act like an asshole, and you had the part. But I do think this will be the year that he finally wins. As far as my Best Picture pick, well, I think this one has a really good chance at winning. I'm going to go with Spotlight. I thought that movie was outstanding. I really did.
That's at the top of my list of these movies that I want to see.
That cast is outstanding. Side note, I'm super excited that like Michael Keaton's back. He was obviously back last year with Birdman, but like
he was off the map for a decade essentially.
Yeah, and all he made before was just like slapstick comedy type stuff. So
yeah,
Beetlejuice.
Like him coming back with this. He had Birdman last year. He's got Spotlight this year. I would highly suggest seeing that if you haven't. It's a great cast. That would be my pick. It is as far as odds go, it's second to Revenant. Revenant's minus 163. Spotlight's plus 188. I think that's where your good money is. But yeah, I mean, the order that they are in odds as far as the top three goes, those would be my top three. I can honestly say outside of Mad Max Fury Road and Brooklyn, because I didn't see it, I'm okay with any of these movies winning. I thought they were all outstanding. I thought they were all well done. Mad Max Fury Road I could see winning for like the
costume set design.
Yeah.
But
stylistically,
I didn't think it was even close to being up for Best Picture, but that's just me. Enjoyable, but I didn't think it was that good. But yeah, Spotlight was outstanding. Revenant. Again, I'm okay with any of these winning, but I'll be pulling for Spotlight for sure.
Matt, your thoughts? Is Leo taking home the hardware on Sunday?
I would be pretty stunned if he doesn't. To be honest, you guys know, and I've touched on this, I think the last podcast, that just briefly, but I'm a huge Leo guy. He's the kind of guy that when he makes a movie, I immediately want to go see it. And I respect him as an actor. I think he does a great job. I love The Revenant a lot, and I thought he was very good. I honestly think, in my mind, he was better in Wolf of Wall Street. Which, I mean, they're two different animals, so I mean, it's hard to really compare. But I thought he was terrific in The Revenant. So I think he's the odds-on favorite to win. In terms of Best Picture movies, I've only seen The Revenant, Mad Max Fury Road, and The Martian. So The Revenant, to me, I thought it was a very good movie. I liked it a lot. Spotlight was one I've really wanted to see. I hope I can somehow see it before this weekend, because I really do want to see that, because I've heard nothing but good things. So for me, I think DiCaprio's going to nail it down. I think he was just his performance just outweighs everybody else. I think Matt Damon and Bryan Cranston, who were both nominated, I think that's just like throw-ins. I thought Damon was good in The Martian, but The Martian to me doesn't seem like an Oscar film.
And the Academy has a tendency. If you go back and look through the movies, there's a lot of sci-fi type movies that were nominated, but they never win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back to Star Wars in '77, and then you've got that. Apollo 13's been nominated. There were a couple others on there that I saw before we started this podcast, but science movies don't. Science fiction just doesn't do well. The Dark Knight was nominated. That didn't do well before. I mean, they don't win for these. Ben, we had talked earlier in the podcast about those solo performances, and I want to argue that even though I haven't seen any of these movies, Matt Damon took a movie where he's on camera by himself, talking to himself, journaling the movie as it's happening. That's an incredibly difficult thing to do, and it makes The Martian a great movie. Is there enough there for him to even sneak in on this? I mean, obviously the odds say no, but was there anything that you saw that could say otherwise?
No, I don't. Again, I think Matt Damon's a good actor, and I'll I'll just go back to what I explained earlier. Is this wasn't just Matt Damon doing this? There were cutback scenes. He ended up getting that communication and talking to other people. Yes, he was on the planet by himself, and there was a good portion of the movie where that's what it was, but it wasn't the whole movie. And I'm not knocking the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's anywhere close as far as Best Actor or Best Picture. Just a quick fun fact, little research that I found. I know a lot of people talk about how the Golden Globes translates to the Oscars. That's true for a lot of categories except for Best Picture, actually. So for Best Actor, they've picked it at a 90% clip. So if the Best Actor at the Golden Globes, 90% of the time he's the Best Actor at the Oscars, but for Best Picture it's only 40%. So the Revenant won, I believe, the Golden Globe for Best Picture.
Yes.
So
it sounds like Spotlight is the Academy's type of movie.
And Spotlight started as the favorite. And again, you're talking gambling, so the fact that Spotlight, I think
was it an indie film?
I don't think
No,
so,
I don't believe so. I don't think it was.
I can't remember which studio did Spotlight, but I swear I thought it was an indie film.
It's just awesome. The storyline is a little depressing what it's about, but just man, oh man, since I've seen it a couple days ago, like I just keep I'm like, man, I want to watch that again. I really want to watch that again.
And quickly to Ben's point about the Golden Globes not transferring over and stuff, so the Golden Globes do classify movies in two different segments for whatever reason. There's drama pictures and then musicals or comedies. So last year, Boyhood won Best Picture Drama, and The Grand Budapest Hotel won Best Musical or Comedy. But this year, The Revenant won Best Picture. So, like last year, Boyhood won Best Picture on the Golden Globes, but Birdman won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So, to Ben's point, I mean, with that being said, I would think Spotlight has a pretty good chance of beating out The Revenant.
All right. Well, there's your Oscar preview. The only question I have left for the Oscars is how quickly does Sly Stallone, when he wins the Best Supporting Actor, mention Michael B. Jordan this time? Because, ooh boy, he left him out at the Golden Globes, and then you had the Oscar nominations come out, and all white people just taking all the awards.
And real quick, pretty cool that Stallone he looks to be he's more than likely going to win again this year, or win.
Heavy favorite.
Yeah, he's the heavy favorite for Best Supporting Actor, and that's pretty neat to win an Oscar for playing the same character. 30 years apart, 40 years apart, almost. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I think going back to Stallone I think the guy can act. He's been asked to play the same character that doesn't allow him to act. I mean, he plays, you look at like the Expendable movies, and
yeah, we have this perceived notion of
Rambo and
another stupid boxing movie that he made with De Niro, where it was like,
oh yeah,
they're like 90-year-old boxers. Like, he actually had to act, and in this film, Creed, which was a great movie, he did it really well. I mean, it was an outstanding movie.
Should Michael B. Jordan have been nominated for that, Ben?
Would he have been Best Actor or Best Supporting?
I'd have to imagine he'd been Best Actor is where he would have had to be put up.
Nomination's fine, but
not
I don't think he wins. Maybe he should have been nominated. I know a lot was about Will Smith not getting nominated. And that was another movie I watched like 30, 40 minutes of it, and it was bad. It wasn't a good movie.
I've heard it's very mediocre. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Our closing thought for tonight is your favorite Oscar Best Picture winner and your favorite Oscar Best Picture nominee that did not win. So, Matt, we'll start with you. Your favorite Oscar winner.
Favorite Oscar winner, it seems almost cliched for me to say this, but it is honestly my favorite movie of all time, and that's The Godfather. Love it. Terrific film. Amazing acting. And actually, the second movie is really good too. Third one, never waste your time watching it. And then as far as the movie that was nominated but didn't win Best Picture, oddly enough, or ironically, given the name of this list, is The Shawshank Redemption. That did not win an Oscar. Scott, what are yours?
My favorite, as you guys called immediately, is American Beauty. Love Kevin Spacey. Love Annette Bening in that movie. Love just the dark comedy aspect of that film. Just so much to like there. Love Kevin Spacey blackmailing his work to get a full year of benefits and then working out so he could bang his daughter's friend and getting high in the garage all the time. Just really, just such an interesting movie to me. And then my movie that I would say is my favorite that was nominated but did not win is it's gonna be I just had it, the dream one, the one with the dreams.
Inception.
Inception. Thank you, Inception. Really, really, really love that movie, and I love it a lot because it's just so different than anything else that's out there, and nothing is even close to it, and that well done. So those are my two. Ben, finish us off for the night.
All right, it's going to sound dumb, but I have a tie for my favorite one because I totally forgot that it won. I had one picked, but then I saw this one. 1986 Platoon.
Ooh,
I love that movie.
Very terrific.
Absolutely love that movie.
Another great cast.
Yeah, again, another great cast. And then 2007, a movie that I actually didn't see until pretty recent. I didn't see it when it came out, but No Country for Old Men. Man, was that a great movie. And then for best movie that didn't win, it's my favorite movie of all time is Saving Private Ryan. I thought it got snubbed, should have won. Again, it's my favorite movie, so I'm a little biased, but whatever.
Yeah, you go through the list of movies that lost, and there's in every year one movie that stands out as like, holy cow, how did that not win? And there are some years where you look at it and you go, wow, really, how did that not win? So some good stuff.
There's a lot
there.
that you look and you say, man, I can't believe they were nominated. Like I totally forgot the movie Sideways was nominated in 2004.
Good movie.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
I really like that movie, but I never would have guessed it being nominated for Best Picture.
And let's give one last shout out to a movie we talked about before we got started tonight, and that would be Whiplash from last year. Whiplash was awesome.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Such a good film. Such a good film. And the acting in that is superb. I can't think of the older gentleman who won Best Supporting Actor. His name's on the tip.
J.K. something or other.
J.K. Simmons. Yeah. He's outstanding, and even the Miles Teller who plays the main character, the drummer, he's very, very good in it too. So really good movie. Now I kind of want to go watch that.
That movie makes you uncomfortable while watching it, especially that scene, the Not My Tempo scene.
Oh,
unbelievable!
Awesome.
Just so much energy there. So, all right, gentlemen, good stuff. Want to remind our listeners of a couple things. One, if you're not subscribed on iTunes, subscribe on iTunes. Do that. If you don't want to subscribe on iTunes because you got an Android device, download Stitcher. You can subscribe on there. If you don't want to subscribe through Stitcher, you go to the source, the place that hosts our podcast for us, Podbean. They have an app. They're awesome. We appreciate what they do for us over there.
And you can also find us on YouTube if you want to see me wearing a shirt and tie and a dress jacket. A dress jacket? What the hell? A dress jacket? A suit coat while I talk about the Oscars. Because I, unlike you, get into the moment.
And then we also this week, make sure you if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter. We also have a page on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook, and you'll get updates to some of the other great things that we do, because we don't just talk. We don't just record this on Monday night. No, Ben and Matt are very talented, and they write about the Bears and other sports happenings, and they are doing some stuff on WordPress. You can find us at, I believe it's wordpress.windedcitycountdown.com. And Ben, what's on tap this week on the WordPress?
Matt, you'll have to double check that URL, but last week we did the off-season game plan for the Bears offensive positions, so you can read those. We have quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive line. This week we're doing defense. I believe today the defensive line went up. Again, just covering what the Bears have, what's available in free agency, and not all, but maybe the top 10, 12 prospects at each position, and just the route we think the Bears could or should go to obviously make themselves hopefully a contender in 2016.
Yeah, and Scott did have that switched around. It's
Yep, I
actually
did.
windedcitycountdown.wordpress.com. You can find all of our stuff there. Ben and I are every day this week, just like last week. Last week we did all the offensive side, so this week breaking down each position group. Defensive line was today, outside linebackers tomorrow, inside linebackers on Wednesday. Thursday will be cornerbacks, and Friday will be safeties.
And I will say, if you haven't checked out the WordPress yet, it looks really great on the mobile side as well. So if you wanted to download the WordPress app or just look at the website through your Safari on your iPhone or whatever you have on your Android device, really looks nice on there and is an easy read. So lots of good stuff going on there. So I think that's everything. The housekeeping is done. The Oscars, they're ready to seat them. The red carpet rolls out in just a couple days, and we'll see if Leo finally gets it done. Until then, I'm Scott Sternal for Ben Russo and Matt Urich. Thanks for listening to Winded City Countdown. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes.